Good evening, everyone, and good morning to you. My name is Daniel Hapney, and this is The Real Story. Tonight I was going to cover just some news for you, and it'll probably be later, it might be earlier, you may never have heard it. So I'm going to start with a question. I like to questions. I always say, do you follow the money? But the question tonight is, had you heard this news? That's my question for the audience. Have you heard this news? So let's go over some of the news that I was going to ask you if you heard. Start. Excuse me. There goes the voice right off the bat. Here we go. And I'll give you a picture too. But days after the nation's largest small business lobbying group. Now think of it. You got a little baby business, maybe 5 employees, 10, 15. Right after they joined a lawsuit, for the Obamacare, when I say for, against the Obamacare package, saying, it's unconstitutional. You can't force us to buy insurance and force us to buy specific insurance. All of a sudden, the IRS goes and announces something. They announce, oh, by the way, for you small businesses, we get a tax credit. So kind of, shut them down. I say that's important because as news, once again, here they were, the largest small business lobbying group, They were joining a lawsuit, but all of a sudden, just a day or two later, boom, the IRS comes out and it announces a new tax credit will compensate small businesses. Rather interesting, huh? Yeah, we want control, but we're willing to take a little piece at a time, gradually encroach on people, kind of like that frog, I guess, in the water. So here we go. Here's a little piece for you. This is the IMF chief says, that's the International Monetary Fund, who caused the riots, look where it's rioting. You usually find them, and right now you're seeing in Greece. Probably to be seen shortly in Spain, maybe even in Ireland. But here's how it goes. The IMF chief says the present monetary crisis is an opportunity. Where have you heard that before? Who uses crises as opportunity? Rahm Emanuel? Anyway, to create a world currency and a global central bank based on the same model as the Federal Reserve. So once again, with this whole, they've created the crisis. They created the crisis. Now here they are offering the solution. The solution is a one world government. The solution is a one world currency. Let the bankers control the entire world. Yeah. So this is really nothing new. And it just shows how relentlessly they push it. And they push it on all your forms of media. So once again, maybe you didn't notice that in the news, but I want to, point that out. Some news for you. How's about? Hey, in the United Kingdom, gold prices soar above $1,200 per ounce. They are doing that here in the United States. And in Germany, people are going out saying, I don't want to bail out all these other people that can't run their governments. And by the way, why is it that Goldman Sachs was tied to that collapse in Greece? They sold them derivatives so that they could have paper on the books to show that they were meeting the EU standards, which now the EU says, well, we don't need. It's all about control. And controlling the Greeks now. They've been paying their taxes. Now they're going to have austerity. You better prepare for hyperinflation and austerity. So anyway, here's another one for you. This is a billboard in New York. I guess Obama was going to go visit. And some people in New York, they're unemployed. They put a billboard up saying they'd like a freaking job. Just thought that was kind of cute. Like the government's going to get them their freaking job. No, the bankers took your job. The politicians took your job. They moved them offshore. Sorry for you in Buffalo. But maybe you want to learn history. Here's one. And this you'll see Michelle on there, Michelle Sotoro, Michelle Obama. And it's the fat police. Yes. Now we're going to try to pass legislation so that the government will demand that every child from 2 years old to 18 must annually, be checked. Are they obese? Are they not obese? What is their exact body mass? I know you think I'm kidding about that, but don't believe me. Okay, this one. Oh my gosh. The biggest asset grab in history. Now that they've, stolen trillions and put those trillions upon your grandchildren, and now that you're entering hyperinflation, and now that the prices of everything are going up, what are they going after next? Well, they're quietly moving forward as the federal government prepares to take control of all 401ks and IRA investments. Isn't that rather interesting? And they're going to give you something. They're going to give you annuities, which would be issued by government-controlled insurance companies. Oh, that's right. We bailed out AIG, didn't we? Such as AIG, which, will then be told it's a safe place, or government securities. You understand, they have to sell all these treasuries because they're into deficit spending, monetizing the debt. So, once again, don't believe me. Check the picture. Here we go. This is Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, just in case you're wondering. Now, they were sold projects and stuff to such an extent that their annual debt payments now exceed the city of Harrisburg's budget. The sad thing is they're not alone. But anyway, Pennsylvania's annual debt payments now exceed the entire income anyway. City politicians try to blame it on a bad investment, okay? But it's really a sign of the times in which decades of spending and collectivist schemes finally bearing bitter fruit. Sad but true. Some more news. This one hurts me. You should wake up. I always ask you, follow the money, think for yourself. Here we go. Matt, this is a think for yourself one. And this is Senators Lieberman, scum, and Kerry, local scum for me, okay, introduced the American Power Act. This is real interesting. Check it out. Don't believe me. But what's interesting is it's an expanded version of the cap and trade. Now, cap and trade got shot down in the Senate 3 times. But remember, they keep pushing, just like this global government. Keep pushing. Keep putting it into people's minds. Keep programming them. The difference with this one is they've now put a new gas tax in it that it didn't have before. So, once again, cap and trade, based on the lie of global warming, that carbon dioxide, a life-giving gas for plants that's needed, okay, is now, quote, a pollutant, even though we found out that all the scientists lied. That NASA lied, that East Anglia University lied, okay, that we had ClimateGate. Maybe you don't remember because, once again, you're watching the regular news. So it's interesting, once again, that Kerry and Lieberman have redone the cap and trade bills, and they're now calling it the American Power Act. Jeez, it's like the Patriot Act, mostly to kill patriots. You think I'm lying? Maybe you need to read the Patriot Act. So here we go. Here's a little, we'll give you the picture and the thing, but also the U.S. Senate backs a watered-down version of Audit the Fed bill. And it's sad that it was watered down. Here's a clip with Ron Paul telling you news you didn't see. Maybe you didn't watch C-SPAN this day, but here you go.
I rise to call attention to my colleagues of a vote that occurred in the other body today. Senator Vitter from Louisiana offered an amendment to the financial reform package in the Senate that was essentially exactly the same as 1207, H.R. 1207, which is Audit the Fed bill. And there was a vote on this, and unfortunately, there were only 37 senators that voted in favor of this Audit the Fed bill. This is rather sad because it is already in the House version of the financial reform bill. And in the House, we have 319 co-sponsors of this bill. So it's a very, very well accepted bill by a broad spectrum of both Republicans and Democrats. But the reason why this is so disturbing is because of the current events going on in the financial markets. We are right now involved with bailing out Europe and especially bailing out Greece. And we're doing this through the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve does this with currency swaps. And they do this by literally giving loans and guarantees to other central banks, and they can even give loans to governments. So this is placing the burden on the American taxpayers. Not direct taxation, but by expanding the money supply, this is a tax on the American people because this will bring economic hardship to this country. And because we've been doing this for so many years, the economic hardship is already here. We've been suffering from it. But the problem comes that once you have a system of money where you can create it out of thin air, there's no restraint whatsoever on the spending in the Congress. And then the debt piles up. Then they get into debt problems as they are in Greece and other countries in Europe. And how do they want to bail them out? With more debt. But what is so outrageous is that the Federal Reserve can literally deal in trillions of dollars. They don't get the money authorized. They don't get the money appropriated. They just create it, and they get involved in bailing out their friends that they have been doing for the last 2 years, and now they're doing it in Europe. So my contention is that they deserve oversight. Actually, they deserve to be reined in where they can't do what they're doing. But initially, we have to have some oversight, and this is why this vote of only 37 senators willing to audit the Federal Reserve in a thorough manner and hold them in check, which means that there were 62 senators that support the idea of maintaining a status quo with the Fed and that they will still be able to make these loans to these foreign central banks.